Happy Read Across America Week, friends. I have a book to share with you today. It is Bunny's Book Club. And the author is Annie Silvestro. And this book was illustrated by Tatiana Weiss. So, let's get into it. Bunny loves books. Can you find Bunny? Right there, sneaking a peek at that book that the mom and the little girl are reading together. He loved them ever since he first heard the lady with the red glasses reading aloud outside the library. As he listened, Bunny imagined himself climbing mountains, captaining a ship, ruling a kingdom. Bunny is listening at story time at the library. But when summer ended, story time moved back inside. Bunny wasn't sure if animals were allowed in the library. I can go ahead and tell you right now, they are not. But Bunny was sure he couldn't live without his books. So there's Bunny sneaking a peek through the window. There's story time. It's still happening. But no Bunny. Night after night, he could hardly sleep for wishing. He had to do something. So, with a flashlight in his paws and hope in his heart, Bunny jumped out of bed and tiptoed through the dark. But when he reached the library door, it was locked. So were the windows. Bunny tried digging, climbing, and yanking. Nothing worked. Bunny is trying to break into the library in the middle of the night. This doesn't seem like a good idea. Until finally he noticed the book return. Now, outside the library, there's usually some place where you can return books, even if the library is closed. Now, at the university branch of the library, which is close to my house, they have a box outside. So it doesn't actually go into the library. It's not in the wall. But at this library, it's like a little door. And you open it up, and you can put the books inside, and they go inside the library. So you can return them, even if the library is closed. What do you think Bunny's going to do? The shiny handle was far above his head, but it was no match for a high-hopping bunny hungry for books. Now, when he says he's hungry for books, does that mean his belly's growling? It just means he wants them so much. Bunny leapt. He clung to the bar, flung himself over, and wriggled his cottontail through the slot. He landed inside with a thud. Guys. Wow. Bunny's eyes sparkled at the sight of the shelves bursting with books. It was better than a field full of fresh, crunchy carrots. Now you know he's excited about those books because there's almost nothing that a bunny rabbit loves more than carrots. Bunny didn't know where to start. He took a deep breath. It smelled if he were wrapped inside the pages of his favorite book. He followed his nose to the adventure section. There he found stories about swashbucklers, sharks, and superheroes. Bunny greedily grabbed them all. His whiskers twitching with excitement, he slipped his treasures through the book slot one by one. Look at that. There he goes. He's pushing them back out the book slot. Clunk, clunk, clunk on the ground. Then, performing his best balancing act, Bunny wobbled home. He couldn't wait to dig in. Look at that. He got all these cool books from the library. And so, Bunny returned to the library each night. He searched and sneaked, then scurried back to read. Soon his home was more books than burrow. Then one evening a loud knock startled Bunny. He closed his book and opened the door. "Where have you been?" said Porcupine. "Reading," said Bunny. "Why?" asked Porcupine. Bunny's eyes popped wide open. "Why?" he sputtered. "Have you ever been to the library?" It was time for Bunny to let Porcupine in on his secret. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" said Porcupine. "Calm your quills," said Bunny. "I'm too prickly, I'll never fit." Bunny pushed and shoved until pop went Porcupine. Bunny slipped in and flipped on his flashlight. "Whoa!" said Porcupine. "I know," said Bunny. "Do you think there's a story about balloons? I've always wondered about balloons." "Most definitely," said Bunny. "Why do you think Porcupine doesn't know a lot about balloons? You think he's been able to play with a lot of balloons? What do you think would happen if a balloon came near Porcupine?" Sure enough, Porcupine found books on balloons and on deserts and dunes and caterpillars and cocoons. When Bunny handed him one about hedgehogs, he hugged it. The two friends took turns cramming books out the slot. Their towers teetered so high they could barely carry them. Back at Bunny's, they cozied up with cups of tea and carrot muffins. Together, they read until sunrise. One night, Bear noticed the light on at Bunny's. He opened the door and tripped over a stack of books. "What's going on?" said Bear. "Here," said Bunny, handing him a book. Bear made room and settled in to read. Soon more curious animals began visiting. "Do you have any books about outer space?" said Bird. "Or about volcanoes?" asked Mole. "I'd like a ghost story," said Mouse. "I think it's time for a field trip," said Bunny. "Where do you suppose they're going to go on their field trip?" "Do you think they're going to go to the farm?" I don't think so either. "Do you think they're going to go to a museum?" I love museum field trips. No? Okay. One by one, the animals stuffed themselves inside the library. Bear caused a bit of a delay. Can you imagine why? Tushy. took a little bit of extra time. They scattered about, sniffing the stacks, pawing over pages. Squirrel gathered stories about the circus. Raccoon nabbed one about outlaws and bandits. What do you think? Have you ever seen a raccoon? A raccoon has fur and it's darker around his eyes, so it looks like he has a mask on, like a bandit. Frog found a fairy tale. No one heard the key in the front door. Uh-oh. No one heard the clack, clack, clacking of footsteps. Uh-oh. No one heard the light flick on. What do we have here? Said the librarian. The animals looked up in shock. Busted. Bunny gasped. Porcupine gaped. Bear groaned. Follow me, she said. The animals marched slowly behind her. We're done for, whispered Porcupine. All libraries have rules, said the librarian sternly. Bunny's whiskers trembled. Porcupine's back bristled. Bear eyed the door. Bunny stepped forward to take the blame. The librarian leaned down. The first rule is every book lover must have one of these, she said. She handed Bunny and his friends shiny new library cards. The animals got library cards. Now you may borrow books, she said, smiling. As long as you return them, of course. Bunny couldn't believe his ears. They could keep coming to the library. He beamed at his fellow readers, then bounced to the shelves. He picked the perfect book, and he proudly checked out the very first selection for... There he is at the counter. Look at him checking out books, just like you do in your library. Bunny's Book Club. That's the end of the story. So, boys and girls, in addition to the super cool media center at your school where you can check out books, there are lots and lots of amazing libraries around our city. And I highly recommend that you and your families get a library card. Even you can have your very own library card, and you can go to the library and check out books to read at home. And then when you're done, you just take them back. And if you get a chance to go to Imaginon, which is a whole library that is just for kids, I highly recommend it. It is the coolest place ever. It is 100% geared towards kids. There's so many fun things to do, and I know that you will enjoy it. So, get your library card so you can have a whole summer full of reading. All right, guys, I'll see you soon.